Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making miniature books of the books that I've read so far this year as I answer questions that you guys submitted over on my Instagram. At jessethereader if you want to follow me. I've become obsessed with miniature books this year. I've been trying to track down those mini brands books capsules everywhere I go. They're so hard to find these days. But also a few years ago, I tried to make miniature books of the books that I had read that year and throw them into a jar. But if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I am really bad with projects and that I don't stick to anything. The only project that I have ever stuck to is this YouTube channel. But I'm also the type of person where just because something doesn't work out at first, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop trying. So here I am again, I'm gonna try this mini books project once again. I've only read 4 books this year, though I am in the middle of this book right here, A River Enchanted, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that book. I've already made one of the books. I made a miniature version of Fourth Wing, though I must admit, I'm not like the happiest with how this turned out. I didn't use a tutorial when I made this one, I just kind of like threw it together. But since making this one, I've looked up a tutorial on how to make them better and how to make them more sturdy. So I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. This process is a bit tedious, and this is not meant to be a tutorial by any means. This video is not a tutorial. Again, I have a tutorial linked down below in the description if you want to learn how to do this. But I found this Canva template, which I will link down below in the description. I bring the book covers into Canva, size them to the template, print them out on cardstock, and now we are here, which is my least favorite part of the process, which is cutting things out. Because I'm terrible at cutting things out. Like, I cannot cut a straight line to save my life. It's very unfortunate. Let's start answering questions while we're doing this. You're given $1 million, but you can only buy 1-star books. Do you take the offer? Yes, I do take the offer because I'm a little trickster and I would just end up using the library. I know it would suck to like never be able to like buy a 5-star read, and I guess like if you were to read a book from the library and it ended up being a 5-star read, you wouldn't be able to buy that book again, because if you buy that book, it's going to end up being a 1-star read. At least that's how my mind is making it out to be, but like at the end of the day, $1 million would literally change my life. I don't know whose life wouldn't change by getting $1 million. I mean, if you're already a millionaire, then yeah, it's not going to change your life. But me, somebody who is far from being a millionaire, it would change my life. So I would take that money gladly and just become a library rat. I would live at the library forever. Also, I could trick the system again and have somebody buy me books. I love trying to find loopholes for these kinds of questions. I would much rather just use the library and have financial stability. Like, that just sounds like the life for me. I'll take it and I'll run with it. Run with it I will do. I almost just cut off Prince Harry's ear. Sorry, Prince Harry. Also, while I'm here cutting out these books, I just want to talk about the fact that I'm currently reading A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, and it is everything to me. I've not read a book like that in a minute where I just like completely fall in love with it from the start. Like, it's been such an interesting experience. Like, I was not even expecting to like the book as much as I have been liking it, because it is a romantasy book, and I just don't know if romantasy is necessarily like the genre for me. But I will say that like the romance aspect of it is not like too overwhelming, which was my fear going in, and I feel like that's my fear in general when it comes to romantasy. Like, I feel like the romance typically just comes in and overshadows everything. I cut out the book covers, and now it's time to cut out the pages, which, again, cutting in general is not my sport. It's not my forte. I'm not very good at it. So this process is not very fun for me. You want the pages to be like a little bit smaller than the book cover, so I'm gonna try my best to do that. I need a ruler. I'm gonna get a ruler. Ruler acquired, and I just realized I don't have a pencil. I'm doing so great, doing so well. Pencil acquired. Next question, your favorite bookish accessory. I feel like the first thing that's coming to mind is like the book bases on my bookshelves. I just love these. These are from Illumicrate, and they're just so cute. Mind you, I have far too many. I've started just like passing along some of these to my friends who are also book lovers, because I only really need one book vase, but I feel like they often have these in their boxes. I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with the bookmark either. They're so useful, and there's also just so many pretty ones out there these days. Ooh, that line was not very straight, was it? It was not, but it's okay. We'll survive. I feel like something else that comes to mind is my tools that I use when I annotate. I don't love the tabs that everybody uses when they annotate. Like, I don't like the tabs that like stick out of the book. Like, it just irritates me. Like, every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, I don't like that. I use these things that are called book darts, and you can just like slide it into the page so it doesn't like stick out. And they change the game for me when it comes to annotating and highlighting and all of that stuff, because I do want to be able to go back to the pages that I've marked up. I also don't like the tabs that stick out, so those change the game for me. I'm also obsessed with midliner highlighters. These are everything to me. They're the best highlighter in the game. Mind you, they're like the only highlighters that I've tried, so there might be a better brand out there, but like that's my highlighter of choice. I hate this part so much. I got pencil all over my desk. Oopsies! I feel like that just made it so much worse. It's fine, I'll take care of it later. I'm a messy human being, I can't help myself. You're able to cut in a straight line, you're better than me. I'm jealous of you. I'm like cutting at an angle. I just don't know how to not cut at an angle. What is the ideal book length? I gotta think about this. I feel like my happy spot these days is like 350 to 400 pages. And it all really depends on like the author's writing style. There are some authors who can make like 600-page books just feel super engaging and like they don't even feel like they're actually 600 pages. Like the authors that are able to do that, magicians, I tell you, wizards, I tell you. But I feel like any longer than 350, 400 pages can sometimes just feel a little on the dragged out side of things. The pacing will be a little off. I just feel like that amount of pages is like the perfect amount to execute a concept. Like that's just enough. That's more than enough to be able to like execute a really interesting concept. I feel like I just really struggle with long books these days because I feel like I've been burned so many times, especially when it's like a really long book and they have this amazing concept and they're still not able to execute the concept. Like, what are you doing? You have all these pages in order to sort out the story, in order to come through with a banger, and you're leaving me feeling empty when I'm leaving the book. Like, come on now. I know I have high standards, but like, come on. I'm really trying to get better at doing crafty things, but I continue to struggle. But I'd rather be seen trying than not try at all, you know? That's my motto this year. I'd rather be seen trying than not try at all. We've got our pages for one book. I'm gonna do some folding and some gluing. Fold and glue. If you were to describe your reading taste, what would it be? That's a really good question because I don't know that I necessarily know the books that I'm craving right now, like what that even really looks like. I will say that I am loving A River Enchanted and I want more books like that in my life ASAP. Like I had like a euphoric feeling, almost out of body experience when I was reading it the other night. Like I think I was just being so moved by the words that I just like fell into this like euphoric place. It was interesting, it was intense, and I would love to have that feeling again, which I know is not describing my current reading taste, but I think I would just like love to have more books move me in that way, which I know is not something that you can just like go out and find. Like it just kind of is something that happens naturally, unexpectedly. All that to say, I think my current reading taste would have to be kind of soft fantasy, sort of that cozy fantasy vibe. Like I'm not really interested in reading a fantasy story that has like a big war situation happening. Like I'm just kind of over that right now. I'm not really in the mood for something like that. I don't want something that's like politically heavy. I just want like a fantasy setting with maybe like a mystery situation happening, because that's very much so the case with A River Enchanted right now. There is some politic elements coming into play with that book, but like so far it's like a mystery situation that's happening with a fantasy setting. All these girls are going missing and we follow a musician who is trying to help track them down. I would say that I'm also like very much so still in the nonfiction mood. I read a lot of amazing nonfiction books last year, and then I read Spare recently by Prince Harry, which I didn't necessarily like hardcore love that book. I enjoyed the process of reading it and I enjoyed the process of learning about somebody, and I feel like I just currently have this itch to learn things, whether it be learning about somebody and their life or learning about a really niche topic. Like I would love to pick up more nonfiction books this year and read the heck out of them because that just like excites me right now. And I know that I've been asking for a lot of nonfiction book recs recently, but I'm gonna open up the floor again. If you have more nonfiction book recommendations for me, drop them in the comments, please. I think I'm also somewhat craving thrillers right now. When I was reading Yellowface, it has this scene in it that feels very thrillery, especially one of the early scenes. I was like, dang, this feels straight out of a thriller. And I think that I also just really want to dabble into horror this year because I feel like horror is going to be something that I really like because I am a horror movie fan. I play a lot of horror games and I just need to give that genre a chance because I feel like I'm going to love it. We're Majin and Pajin. A standalone book you wish had a sequel or a book series you wish would be a standalone. Ooh, good question. Honestly, I kind of wish that Cemetery Boys would have been expanded into a series because I feel like the potential is there. The author could have explored so many more things with those characters. Mind you, I love it in its standalone form, but I just also love those characters and I love the vibes that the story delivers. We're doing some doctoring. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be magical. Every little thing is gonna be all right. Another layer of Mod Podge. Here we go. This is such a messy process too. I'm so sticky over here. The other part of that question, a book series you wish would have been a standalone. I'm gonna say the One of Us is Lying trilogy. I have not read the third and final book, so I don't know like what's in that book or like what else is added to the story. But I read the second book and like I did really enjoy it. I liked the way in which it expanded on the story, but I also just had this feeling where I was like, this was unnecessary. Like we did not need to drag the storyline on. It was one of those situations where One of Us is Lying was so popular. It was on the New York Times bestseller list for so long that of course they're gonna kind of like capitalize on it and decide to expand it, but like it just didn't need to happen. And then I will say also the We Were Liars situation, like that bothers me so much to this day. Like it just frustrates me that we were given a prequel situation that just reflected so many of the elements in the first book that it just like did not need to happen. We did not need that story to be expanded in any way, shape, or form. So it's frustrating that it did end up getting some kind of like prequel situation. And I'm still salty about it, clearly very upset about it. I think we're ready to insert the pages. It doesn't really like have the shape of the book. That's okay. Putting Mod Podge on Prince Harry's face, it would be such a jump scare to like have your face so blown up on a book cover. Like I would not enjoy walking into a store and seeing my face this big on a book cover. Though he's Prince Harry, I'm sure he's used to seeing his face on all the things, all the magazine covers. My hands have crustiness all over them now. Disgusting. Let's work on the yellow face one next. Oh, the crusties on my hand is driving me crazy. Next question, which new genre do you think has got great potential to be popular like dystopia has? I mean, I feel like romantasy is having its moment for sure, but I feel like after that, I'm not really sure what will be like the next thing to kind of pop off. I feel like sci-fi really hasn't had its moment yet, but I also understand that one because I think that people are intimidated by it. And by people, I mean me. I am people. I am intimidated. I can't help it. So I don't know if a genre like that will necessarily like pop off. I feel like maybe magical realism will have its moment again and will start to pop off again. I feel like there's a lot of people like me who like really enjoy contemporary stories but always wishes that there was just like a touch of magic. So I would like to see magical realism again sort of start to pop off. Books like You've Reached Sam, The Cost of Knowing, or The Astonishing Color of After, one of my all-time favorites. I would love to just see more books in that lane where it's reality but we've also got like a touch of magic in the air. I think I cut down the pages a little too much for this one. No! But you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and just see what happens. We're not looking for perfection here, okay? They're just a visual representation of the books I've read this year. Do you read dedications in books? If so, what's a good one that has stayed with you? I do typically read the dedications because I feel like they're typically like 1 or 2 lines and it's not that big of a deal. Acknowledgements, on the other hand, I more times than not will skip the acknowledgements. I just feel like they're not there for me. I feel like that is for the author and their friends and family and the people that have supported them along the way. But more times than not, I'm just like, I did not need to read this. I could use this time that I'm taking to read the acknowledgements to read another book. Anyway, there is a book dedication that I feel like has stuck with me and one that I often think about, and that's the one that Victoria Schwab did for A Darker Shade of Magic. The dedication is something along the lines of, for the ones who dream of stranger worlds. That might not be word for word, I can't remember it precisely. I just think that that is like such a wholesome dedication and also just like very fitting for that book. Okay, our yellow face is mostly done. It needs to dry, but I'm pretty happy with it. I did make the pages a little too small, but not bad, not the best. Just all right. But I'm here for just all right. I'll take it. Let's move on to one of my favorite books of the year so far, Happy Place by Emily Henry. It was so nice to have a 5-star read right at the start of 2024. I feel like that very rarely happens for me, but I loved Happy Place, which I've heard since talking about Happy Place that is like not a normal experience to have, that a lot of people felt a little bit let down by it, but cannot relate. I freaking loved Happy Place. It was relatable at times, it was emotional at times, I was so invested in the relationship, which I feel like is just something that Emily Henry is so good at, making you feel super attached to the characters and to the relationship situation. But I'm here for it. I definitely need to explore more of Emily Henry's books. But I also feel like I'm kind of not in the mood for a romance situation right now, so I think I'm going to take a little bit of a romance break. I mean, I know that A River Enchanted is obviously a romantasy. It has a romance situation happening, but it also is not a romance situation that is like taking up the book. It's not leading the book, but I definitely feel myself like falling into this like romance burnout. But I also read so many romance books in December. Like that's mostly all that I read in December, which was not the plan. I meant to read a variety of things, but I did a read and rank where I read holiday romance books, and so I just ended up reading so many, and it was kind of upsetting because I really didn't enjoy any of the holiday romances, and I think in general, holiday romances just don't really work out for me. I definitely have to be in a specific mood for them, and I didn't realize that until I filmed that video and read all those holiday romance books. I was like, oh, I'm not necessarily in the mood for these. I was kind of in the mood for romance books, but I feel like holiday romance books are a different kind of breed, and by that I mean they are another kind of cheesy, which is fine. Sometimes you're in the mood for a cheesy book, and that's okay. I just very clearly was not in the correct mindset to be reading those books. Lesson learned. Let's hope I don't cut these pages too short this time. I feel like I cut them too short. And it's not too bad, actually. I do need to clean it up a little bit. Trim, trimity, trim, 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 trim. I'm feeling good about this one. It probably could be a little thicker, but we're just gonna go with it. I feel like if I go any thicker, it's gonna mess it up, so. My crusty hands are driving me crazy. We completed Happy Place. We've got one more to go. I think the thing that needs the most improvement from me with these is just like the actual pages inside the books, because like it just does not look very realistic and it's bothering me. Like I know it's not going to be perfect. One more question. Do you have any tips on finding books you'll like? I've been reading and haven't found them. My tip is to just think about the things that you've been consuming. So take a look at the TV shows that you're watching or the movies that you're watching. What in those stories are you really enjoying? What about those stories is filling up your love tank? Taking those elements and seeking out recommendations. So whether it be a trope in a story that you really like or a character type that you really liked, taking those elements and searching out recommendations, you're bound to find something that you might enjoy. Also, just like finding someone online who has similar taste to you is a great way to find books that you'll like, because if somebody has similar taste to you and they're recommending books, you're more than likely going to like the books that they recommend. Like that's just how things work. I'm not saying your styles will always match up and that you will always agree on books. There's always going to be that one book that you just like don't agree with that person on. Okay friends, we have reached the end of the video. I have completed my mini books. I'm not super proud of them, but they're not bad. I'm a little rusty when it comes to making miniature books, but I've learned some lessons in the process and I will be taking those lessons and hopefully I will become a mini book master in the near future. Watch out for me, guys. I'll do a little overview here. This one is spare. As you can see, this one needs a little work. Got Yellow Face. I trimmed the pages a little too much on this one. We've got Happy Place, which I feel like is the one that turned out the best, and even still it's not that great. And then we've got A River Enchanted, which was not glued together very well. I might have to go back over that with some more Mod Podge, but that's okay. Those are my mini books. Into the jar they go. This is gonna look so nice when it's filled to the brim with all my books that I've read in the year of 2024. I'm super excited about it. That is all that I have for you guys today. Let me know down below in the comments if you've ever made your own miniature books and how to go for you. Do you have any tips for me? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-o!